Tonight, talking about her humility, we are remembering the First Lady of Song, Sibongile Khumalo. Legendary jazz musician Sipho Hotsitx Mabuse is on the line for us. Mr. Mabuse, I cannot believe it. Just a couple of days ago, we were talking about Jonas Gwangwa. I'm so sorry. You say on Twitter tonight you have no words.
Indeed. Yeah, it's one of those things that one find difficult to comprehend and to understand. Why does it happen, and I'm suddenly beginning to feel like I am a spokesperson for the departed.
Yeah.
Last week, yes, as you rightly say, we were talking about Gwangwa, and now here I am having to speak about my very personal friend. Sibongile and I grew up together in Orlando West. We were all drawn to music. Well, she grew up in the music family, but I was drawn more into music by her father, who has with such stature. Professor Kabingoma was my first teacher in music when I played flute and studied classical music. So, consequently, we became colleagues, and I would meet Sibongile at the University of Zululand, where she was friends to Selbin Tuli's sister Tandi, and they were singers. So her life has always been about music, and more in particular, classical music was her favorite music, if I remember. But for some reason, she was able to interact with all other types of music and do it very, very well. I remember the first concert I performed with her was at the Market Theatre, wherein I asked her, to play the violin, because I said people knew she could sing, but not a lot of people were aware that she was an accomplished violinist. So I requested that could she please bring a violin into this concert. The rest is history. The rest is history. I think playing violin for her was to motivate her son, who's a great violinist as is, Sipho. And we then worked together as board members at Samro. So our paths have always crossed one way or the other.
I'm so glad you brought up her family. So many people are talking about the influence of her father, and now you're talking about her son. So this love for music passed on from generation to generation.
Yes.
Do you think her father had any inkling when you met her, when she was younger, of what she would grow into, sort of her stature as a musician?
Well, I think in a way, yes, he probably would have. Obviously, he had insisted on her studying, and becoming a better musician rather than just an ordinary musician that would perform in concerts. And he was probably aware that she would be an internationally acclaimed musician because of the influence that her father had. And also the brother, who's an amazing cellist, and the brother's daughter's another Sibongile, who's Sibongile Mgoma, who's an amazing opera singer. So you can imagine that the entire family, that music runs into the family, including her daughter, Ayanda, the one who called me today, an amazing singer, studied music. So, musicianship has always been something around the entire family.
Yeah, we spoke to the other Sibongile's son a little bit earlier. When last did you see her?
Well, I last saw Sibongile last year, but I spoke to her about 2 weeks ago. I was going to Mpumalanga. What was very sad about this? And I knew she was in hospital. She could probably hear it in my voice. There was a lot of sadness. And she said to me, "Ungakali, ngiyakwazi wena, you are a crybaby. Don't cry because I know you are a crybaby." I said, "No, I won't cry because I know if I cried, you will also cry." She said, "I will come out of this place and I'll be stronger." And I said, "I know that you'll come out stronger. And what is it that you think I should bring you from my journey?" She said, "Bring me a stick, a walking stick." And I said, "I will do so." and that was the last time I spoke with. I would be talking to Ayanda, all the time because she was the link. And I do believe that Sibongile would have loved her affliction to be a private issue. She didn't want to be overwhelmed by the media, by musicians and everybody calling to find out how she was, because she needed the space to recover. But unfortunately, it was not to be.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that news breaking earlier tonight. As a musician, so many people talking about her difference. I mean, just beyond being an opera singer, which is very difficult to do, sort of cutting across all the genres. You talk about the influence of her father, but beyond that, what was her X factor?
I think she had aura. Sibongile had so much aura around her. And the fact that a lot of people considered her an opera singer, however, she was able to transcend opera as music, made her even more a greater musician than a lot of people would have imagined. I mean, today you speak about any jazz musician in this country, they will tell you they've worked with Sibongile. And I think even the first time I saw her perform in a jazz group was at Cupis with the likes of Prince Lingwasa and Glenn Mafuku. They had an amazing group. And Sibongile performed Aaron G on a jazz stage. That, for me, did it all. I was sold to her. I was almost like a glue, because everywhere she performed, everything she did, I would always try and look to. And I was privileged in a way to be asked to produce some of her music on her first album. That is something that I will always cherish, because I don't think there wouldn't have been other people greater than, who would have done a better job than what I was requested to do.
Well, thank you for being generous with us and sharing some of those memories tonight. That was legendary jazz musician Sipho Hotsitx Mabuse.